He's the most celebrated footballer of his generation. A World Cup winner at just 19, worshipped by millions, his face on billboards from Paris to Tokyo, one of the richest athletes on the planet. From the outside, Kylian Mbappé has everything a human being could dream of, but behind the trophies, the speed, the endless highlight reels, there is a pain the cameras never show you, a wound so deep that it once pushed him, at the height of his fame, to the very edge of walking away from the same country he had made world champion. And this summer, in front of the entire planet, that wound was ripped open all over again. Stay with me until the end, because what Kylian Mbappé carries in silence and what it quietly says about all of us is nothing like the story you see on the pitch. But to understand it, we have to go back to a boy from a place most people had never even heard of. Before the private jets and the galactic contracts, there was Bondy, a tough working-class suburb on the northeastern edge of Paris. That is where Kylian Mbappé grew up, the son of a father who came from Cameroon and a mother of Algerian descent, in a neighborhood the rest of France often preferred to ignore. A kid with posters of Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo covering his bedroom walls, and a dream far too big for the concrete around him. Remember where he comes from: Bondy, Cameroon, Algeria. Hold on to those three names, because years later they would be twisted into a weapon aimed straight at his heart. And for a while, it looked like the fairy tale had no cracks. By 19, that boy from Bondy had done the impossible. He had exploded onto the 2018 World Cup, dazzled the world, and lifted the trophy for France. Overnight, he wasn't just a footballer. He was the pride of an entire nation, the smiling face of a modern, diverse France. Or at least, that is what everyone was told. Because only 3 years later, in the summer of 2021, the fairy tale shattered, and almost no one talks about how close it came to ending everything. At the European Championship, France, one of the favourites, collapsed against Switzerland in a penalty shootout, and it was Mbappe who walked up for the final decisive kick, the whole country holding its breath. He missed, France was out, and within minutes, his phone turned into a sewer. Thousands upon thousands of messages poured in, and buried in them was the oldest, ugliest insult of all. They called him a monkey. Not angry fans criticising a missed penalty that is part of football. This was an attack on the colour of his skin. This is the pain the cameras never show you. And here is the part that should stop you cold. It cut so deep that Kylian Mbappé, the golden boy of French football, seriously considered quitting the national team for good. Let that sink in. The very man who had handed France a World Cup was ready to walk away, because for some people, no trophy, no title, no amount of glory would ever be enough to make him truly French. And it wasn't only faceless accounts hiding behind a screen. Earlier in that same tournament, inside a packed stadium in Budapest, rival fans had aimed monkey chants at him and at several of his teammates. This was the double life of Kylian Mbappé that the sponsors never put on a poster. Cheered like a god the instant he scored, and reduced to an animal the moment he was human enough to fail. But he didn't quit. Somehow, he stayed. He spoke out publicly against the racism, then put his head down and did the only thing he truly controlled. He kept winning. Another World Cup final in 2022, where he scored a hat-trick on the biggest stage of all. More trophies, more records, and finally, the move to Real Madrid, the club of those childhood posters back in Bondy, the dream taped to his bedroom wall, made real. From the outside, it looked like he had risen so far above the hate that it could no longer touch him, but a wound like that doesn't simply heal and disappear. It waits, and this summer it came back on the single biggest stage that exists in sport. At the 2026 World Cup, Mbappé, now the captain, the leader, the face of France once more, sent his country through the round of 16 with a penalty that knocked out Paraguay. It should have been a night of pure celebration. Instead, in the hours that followed, a Paraguayan senator named Celeste Amarilla went online and unleashed a torrent of racist abuse. She mocked his Cameroonian roots, she mocked his appearance, his upbringing, his education, and she sneered that a real Frenchman would never behave the way he did. There it was again, word for word, the very same lie. You're not really French. The exact wound from Bondy from 2021 reopened and aimed this time at the captain of the most watched team on earth. But this time, something had changed. The world did not look away. FIFA condemned it. The United Nations issued a statement. French prosecutors opened an investigation, and the president of France himself answered publicly, "When words soil, our values reply, dignity, respect, fraternity." And the senator, cornered by the global outrage, she suddenly claimed her account had been hacked. And here is where every thread of this story finally ties together. Remember the boy from Bondi, the son of Cameroon and Algeria, told again and again from the shadows and now from a parliament that he wasn't really French? He's the one who made France champions of the world. He didn't take from that country. He gave it its proudest night in a generation. And remember the young man who in 2021 stood on the edge, broken, ready to walk away. He didn't shrink. He turned into something much harder to break, a mirror. Because every single time someone tries to reduce Kylian Mbappé to the colour of his skin, they do not make him smaller, they only expose themselves. That is the real pain the cameras never show you. Not the missed penalty, not even the insults. It's the quiet, daily weight of being adored and dehumanised at the very same time and choosing over and over to keep standing tall anyway. The kid who once wanted to quit now carries that weight for millions of others who are told in 1,000 small ways that they don't belong. So ask yourself, what would you have done in his boots? Tell me in the comments below. And if this story moved you, subscribe, because next time we pull back the curtain on another legend, the world only thinks it knows.